Welcome back to part 2 of Underwater Welding Explained. Quick recap. In part 1, I told you we always use DC and we never use AC underwater, and that we set up the welder DCEN, which means Direct Current Electrode Negative, so our electrode or the welding rod is negative and our workpiece or the ground clamp is positive. That setup makes the flow of ions travel from the welding rod to the workpiece, giving us deeper penetration in underwater conditions. Before we do some test welds, I'll go over a few tips. If you look closely at the controls here, you can see this welder is capable of AC but set to DC. When welding underwater, you want to avoid using this kind of machine because although it's set to DC, it's just one bump away from electrocuting the diver. And even if it's bolted or taped in position, these welders can actually malfunction and jump over to AC while in the DC position. Now when you have a diver in the water welding, you want to avoid coiling the leads in a circle like this, because doing this creates an electromagnet. This electromagnet will reduce arc stability, increase spatter, and drop voltage. You don't want to end up with a glitching arc like this and having everyone in the dive shack thinking that it's user error. So when possible, either try to flake them out flat or coil them into a figure eight, because coiling them into a figure eight will cancel out the electromagnet. The knife switch is the manual lever used to kill power to the diver. When mounting it vertically, put the hinge on the bottom so gravity can only pull the circuit open, never closed. So now that we have our welder set up correctly, we're going to fire it up, which is super easy if you're not familiar. You simply pull out the choke and then press the start button. Once it kicks on, you push the choke back in and she's running steady. Now if you see over here, we have high idle and auto idle. When welding underwater, we want to always keep it on high idle, so when the diver touches the welding rod to the workpiece, the diver gets that instant strong arc with no delay. If it's on auto idle, that's great for saving fuel for topside welding, but underwater we need to give the diver that instant strong arc because underwater conditions are tricky enough and we don't need any tech glitches or something worse like a power drop at the wrong moment. Now we're going to run some test welds with these 7018 rods at 3 different settings on this 1/4 inch scrap, starting high at 120 and then stepping down from there. Before anyone says that's overkill in the comments, that's the point. Those high settings only get you a basic weld underwater sometimes, and I'm going to be wearing this totally trashed mask to simulate murky underwater conditions. I don't claim to be the best welder in the world, and I'm showing you this for entertainment. I'm going to do one long bead at 3 different settings to show you the power of DCEN. Starting off with our first weld at 120 amps, then turning it down to 110 amps for the middle, then I'll end off the bead at 100 amps. Alright, so that weld's looking a little rough while we were playing with the settings, but that's perfect because now I'm going to go over a few common defects to look out for, and I'll show you how to fix it. If we look closely at the 120 amp weld, you can see we have some deep undercut. An undercut is when high amps leave a groove in the base metal that isn't filled in by the weld bead. This makes the weld more susceptible to cracking over time. We also have some spatter here, which is typical when welding on rusty, dirty metal. Those imperfections vaporize into gas bubbles and pop and spit out molten metal. This is even more common underwater, where the arc is constantly fighting to maintain a gas bubble against the pressure of the water. We also have some porosity here. Porosity is those tiny pinholes on the surface. It's basically trapped gas bubbles caused by contaminants like rust that didn't have time to escape before the weld froze solid. Now moving on to our 110 amp weld, you can see there's almost no spatter and the undercut is much smaller. And for the 100 amp weld, it looks like we finally got it dialed into a range that's not too volatile. There's no deep undercut, there's no spatter. There is this blob where I pulled the rod away for a second, and you can see these narrow pointy beads. These beads are a telltale sign that I was moving too quickly. Now, even though this bead is pretty jacked up, I'm going to show you how we can save it and do a fillet weld. That way, if you're in the field and you messed up a weld while you were dialing in the amps, you can fix it. Along the existing weld, I ran a bead along the bottom first, and then finished off with another bead across the top to create a solid triangle. I welded right over that undercut and all those imperfections and saved the weld. Now that you've seen the arc react on the surface, part 3 is going into the high stakes science.